Hello. So, I have decided to live a very cheap lifestyle, a very frugal lifestyle, which doesn't cost a lot, which is very easy and brings me peace of mind compared to what I had always lived. Earlier, I used to, earn some fine amount of money, and I still do, but the lifestyle has drastically changed. When I used to live in a city, I used to spend a lot in things that didn't mean so much, and there is a reason. Like, first of all, I would like to be very open about what sort of lifestyle I very much liked to live. I very often wanted to, like, twice a week, to go to an expensive cafe and have a fancy meal and get a coffee about more than 2 or 3 or sometimes 400 per coffee. A meal about the double the amount, and I rarely went to cafes alone, and so I took one or two of my friends there to accompany me, and I was the one who used to pay the bill most of the times because it made me feel happy, and I don't know what kind of happiness is that, but I never regretted doing that, even after the incident had already happened. A lot of expenses in going to cafes, taking expensive taxis, whereas I could use public transport and you know save a lot of money. Even to go 4 or 5 kilometers, I used to take a taxi instead of using a public transport. So each week and twice a week, and on each occasion the expense would be around 1500 to 2000 rupees, and if we multiply it by 2 for a week, the minimum weekly expense would be around 3 to 4000 rupees, and if we multiply it by 4 for a month, it would be around 12 to 15,000. And it always made me feel like that I'm earning a good amount of money. Like, what is so wrong that I'm never being able to save a lot amount of money? Because I wanted to show off. Because that is the only reason that you spend so much money. You feel happy in spending money. You feel content spending a lot of money because. Like, why exactly do we spend so much money in the modern life? Why does Gen Z and Gen Alpha, despite being, educated and financially aware, why do we spend so much amount of money on a daily basis? And we tell ourselves that it is not going to waste. Like, we are taking taxi for our convenience of travel. We are taking expensive coffee because the quality of the coffee should be great, that we are putting in our system, our gut, and that the food we are consuming is good, that we are not wasting. At least we are eating. At least we are going to cinema to watch an expensive movie with lots of popcorn and soda. So we give ourselves all kinds of reasons so that we do not feel like we have done something stupid in our lives. But we keep doing that. We keep repeating the pattern and run empty pocket by the end of the month. But why all of this? Why all of this? Firstly, why do we do that? Because we live a life that is very stressful. And if we do not treat ourselves with convenience and delicious junk food and the trendy coffee that is in the market, we feel stressful. Like, we find refuge in good food, like at least they call it good food. We find refuge in drinking matcha, expensive latte, and doing expensive travel or taking expensive commute just to make ourselves feel that if we are putting ourselves through so much stress, we at least deserve it. Because if we do not do that, we will not be able to balance the stress that we put ourselves into on a daily basis. Because we do not have anything else. We do not read, we do not meditate, we do not sit alone, we do not enjoy solitude, because that is not a part of life. Because to do that, also to do all of that, we need to be in a state of mind which we are not, because we are always under stress. So the easiest way to escape all of it is spend money, buy new technology, buy aesthetic things that you do not even need. and I'm talking is, it is everything about myself. I have been one of those guys, exactly, because this is why the reason that I am able to relate with you guys so much. Maybe somebody of you who is watching is in the same stage of life. But then I realized that did I really deserve that, to spend so much money? Of course, because we are earning so much, and then we are spending so much. Now the thought came that do we really need to drink expensive coffees? Do we really need to, you know, eat deep fried chicken? Do we actually need that? And then I realized, no, we do not. And since I have moved here, I rarely take a taxi. I do not even, consider taking an expensive taxi. Because the taxi here is very much expensive, and that is a good reason for me to not take a taxi. Although I can afford, all of what I could afford back then. Fancy cafes. The cafes are really good here in Dharamshala, McLeodganj. I could say a little better than the cafes I used to go in Delhi, because it's a Tibetan establishment, and a lot of Tibetan people who know how to cook good Tibetan food are here. And I really like Tibetan food and their style of making coffee. But right now I do not. There are monkeys over there. I do not need an expensive coffee to keep myself sane, because I'm not putting myself through so much stress in the first place. I walk 10 kilometers, 12 kilometers because I have time, because I'm not putting myself through so much stress. Like, why? It's a loop that we need to feed ourselves with such luxuries so that we earn so much so that we can do that. And we feed ourselves with so much luxury because we are putting ourselves through so much stress because of earning money. Like, it's a loop, a never ending loop. And so I decided to cut that loop off, and I'm saving a lot of money. And I've started saving a lot of money, and it is making me peaceful, that I know, because by the end of the month, or even by the end of the year, I would not run out of money. I would not be concerned, I would not be under any sort of stress. And am I depriving myself? One second. And I'm not depriving myself of anything, because it is just a luxury, a needless luxury. Needless. It is not needed. Like, I mean, people who stress themselves so much, like I used to do. I could not afford this to make my own coffee every morning and enjoy silence, looking at mountains, snow covered, beautiful birds chirping all the while, and solitude, no stress, no desire to prove something to somebody else. So I make my own money, I make my own food, and I really love it. It gives me a lot of freedom, a lot of financial freedom. Not only financial freedom, but freedom from every sort of thing that we cultivate around ourselves. I do not have to hurry to go somewhere because I have bought time, a lot of time, which I already had, which all of us already have in our lives. We all have so much time in life, but we somehow sell this time to afford needless luxury. And so we hurry all the times. When we go to vacations, like we rarely find occasions to go on trips or vacations or to spend some leisure time, which is a natural part of life. Like, I do not think anymore that we should take out time to enjoy ourselves. That is very natural. Nature has given that to us. But we are somehow, like, I've always compromised with that. I was not so grown up. I was not so well connected with myself and life and nature. I did not understand the value of nature. I did not understand that the way nature has created me is absolutely perfect, and I do not need to mess with that, putting my own stupid, learned societal desires, needless luxuries over that. It is all already a luxury to be free, to have so much time. Like, what are we working for? To have time. Time is money. No, time is not money. Time is actually happiness. And so, yes, I have been trying to live a very frugal lifestyle. I do not buy things unnecessarily because I do not need to. I do not unnecessarily go to cafe because it is never necessary. It is never needed. And that doesn't mean I'm depriving myself. I feel much more happy. Yes, when I used to live in cities, if I did not do that, if I did not go to cafes, have expensive food, or provide myself with all kind of needless luxuries, at that time I would feel deprived, that I am doing something wrong, that I'm not able to do that. Like, everyone is doing that, I am not able to do that. Why? What am I living for? What is the meaning of life if I'm depriving myself? But it all comes from external sources. It all comes from televisions, social media, maybe your peers. But I'm saving a lot of money now, and it's a good feeling. It gives me much more freedom, knowing that I have money and I still do not take an expensive taxi to go 10 or 12 kilometers. I can walk, and it keeps me healthy. It takes a lot of stress away. Yes, there are people like myself that would say, oh, okay, if we would have this much time, we would live like you. Exactly. Then I say, I bought time with just a realization that we do not need so much in the first place to be happy. We need so much to keep ourselves under stress constantly, and remove that stress through consumption, and again go into stress because we have consumed so much, and now we have to keep the loop alive. Okay, it's a downhill slope and I'm walking very fast. It's a whole story. I'm not saying that I did not like what the way I was living earlier. I did. I really used to like the way I was living because I was the one among my peer circle that could at least comparatively was a little more free and could afford everything and could pay the bills for everyone on the table. But that gave me stress. So friends ask, do you need it? Do you really need that luxury and put yourself through a lot of stress? Because you already know the loop, what exactly the loop is. Nature is beautiful, nature is perfect and has created me in the best way possible. And all the religious texts even say that God has created us in the perfect image of Himself. Like, it could be metaphorical, but it is true. If nature is God, then nature has created us into perfection. We do not need all of that. Happiness already exists, peace already exists, and we should look out for ways to afford free time, to afford some time for meditation, some time to consume a little bit of art, to read a book, to look at trees and birds and beautiful flowers, and it will give us happiness and freedom. I have reached to the market. I need to shop something. By shop I mean that I need to buy some vegetable and get back home. I'll see you in another video. Bye.